All right, good afternoon and thank you, everybody. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, 4 p.m., Horton Chambers, and we will call our meeting to order. I'll start with land acknowledgement that as we gather today, I'd like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We'd like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we're extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Looking at today's agenda, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? None? None being heard, we will move on to confirmation of council agenda. Would I have a mover? Thank you very much. Councillor Campbell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Webster, and all in favor? Thank you, gentlemen. So we will start tonight's meeting with a public delegation. And we are pleased to have, thank you so much for joining us tonight here, or this afternoon, Peter, on behalf of the Renfrew and Area Health Services Village. Thank you for taking time, and I will pass it over to you.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I just want to preface my remarks by saying I've been here a number of times, and in fact was here in 2010 when this all kicked off. I've been involved with Renfrew and Area Health Services Village ever since the start of it in March of 2010, and I've either served as chair or vice chair. And so I know that this is fairly new to some of you, so I'm just going to do a very quick overview, and I sent some other documentation, and I'm more than happy to come back again and spend an hour with you. There may have to be the opportunity to go into close because there were some things that occurred that I litigated / mitigated, and they have some repercussions should they get out. And so I chose that title deliberately, assisting our community when no one else would. And the next slide, please. At that time, we were approached by Renfrew Victoria Hospital, and they said, we are not equipped to recruit doctors. We've spent money, and each municipality at that time was putting in money on a per capita basis from about 2007 to 2010. And the hospital didn't want to be involved in it. And at the time, we were looking around, and primarily we found that I believe 1 in 7 of our residents at that time did not have a family doctor. And so we took it on as a health issue, but also an economic development issue, because we're hearing from some of the employers that employees were taking the day off, when they went to the family doctor, or if they didn't have a family doctor, to sit in the emerge to get prescriptions or to get tests scheduled. As you know, doctors are the gatekeepers for the system. You cannot get a test without a doctor signing off on it. And when you didn't have a family doctor, it caused some problems. The hospital was complaining as well about their emergency room being tied up to handle things that should be handled by the family doctor. So those were the kinds of pressures that were on us. And we also, one of the things I looked at was we looked at it as an economic development model too. So that, as it says there, a physician may employ 3.5 people and inject at that time 1.1 million into the local economy per year. Next slide, please. And with that, we decided, we also were hearing rumors in the community about some of the physicians that were retiring. We were hearing that and guessing that some of them had 2,300 patients, 2,700 patients, 1,300 patients. So the numbers were quite frightening, and they were going to cascade after 2010 up to about 2017. That was our belief, and I think it proved out. So if you want to go to the next slide, please. And so what we did was we talked about it, the 4 mayors. I was the mayor of Greater Madawaska at the time, and we agreed that we would start off with $25,000 per municipality, and it was to increase 2% every year. My rationale when I wrote the agreement was that it was an unfortunate municipal tradition of not increasing monies to the bodies they have responsibility for. So my philosophy is you either feed it or cut its throat, and so we fed it. So when you look at that, you your municipality at this point has put $430,000 towards $1.3 million worth of doctors coming into the area. And next slide, please. At the time, Renfrew Industrial Commission were committed to $900,000. Fundraising was $700,000, and Renfrew Home Hardware was $140,000. Renfrew Home Hardware met their commitment. Every time we signed a doctor, and we signed 14 of them, they gave us a check for $10,000. So we cannot say enough about their generosity. We actually, next slide, please. So what happened? Renfrew Industrial Commission only provided $480,000 of their initial $1.2 million. So part of the original funding model called for municipal money to look after the administration of the program. So the budget at that point to administer the program was set at about $50,000, with the rest to go into economic development, because we had a really neat economic development paper that showed us that something like 1,700 people in 2010 or 11 were employed in health services in the Renfrew area, and it spun off about another 3,700 jobs. So there was a significant, I believe it was about $64 million was the number at the time. So we wanted to capture that, because we were looking at what was going on in Alberta, some of the things in the States. We thought, oh, Renfrew would make a great body and fender shop, you know, like in terms of setting up something like the just hip specialist at one of the hospitals or something. And so we christened the area Renfrew Health Services Village, with the idea that that would become a cluster. It's not an official plan designation. It was just us saying, this makes a lot of sense to cluster it here. So next slide, please. The situation today, we talked about 2.0 for 5 years, and nobody wanted to be a partner. And so we've said we're not going to keep our 4 municipalities in the business of recruiting doctors. When Renfrew Industrial Commission left us, we couldn't find an alternate source of money. So that then pushed us into using the surplus that would have been used for economic development to meet our pledge of 14 doctors. So next slide, please. And so those are the expenses for 2024. It's $34,000. So we did, just to go backwards a little bit, we did set out to recruit 14 doctors. We actually recruited 16. 2 left. One didn't come to practice. She'd signed the agreement, so she paid us back. No problem, wrote me a check. The other one, he had only taken a part of the money, so he paid it back over 2 years, and there was no issue there. Of the 14 doctors that we ended up hiring, 10 of them stayed in the area and still here practicing family medicine. And so family medicine is only part of what they do. What they liked about our community was that they could step into a practice, so doctors don't want to run businesses anymore. They want to work 40 hours or 45 hours. They want to be able to take their kids to daycare or see the play that the child is in, or watch the hockey tournament, or see them skiing. And they also didn't want to be responsible for payroll, for calling to replace somebody that's calling in sick. And so the model through Renfrew Victoria Hospital was the 2 clinics that were built on each side of for the sake of argument, on each side of the hospice. With the idea that doctors would slot in there, 4 or 5 of them or 6 of them in a pod. They'd all contribute to the costs. So we developed what I'll call a binder. So if you were a doctor, you would walk in after we recruited you, and we would give you the binder. And so it would tell you how many tongue depressors to buy, where to buy, how many chairs, so it would help you outfit your office. And so they really liked that. So, as I said, 10 of the doctors stayed in the area. 2 moved over to become hospitalists at Renfrew Victoria Hospital when they changed their model about 4 years ago. And 2 left the area. When we signed a doctor, they committed to a 6-year contract to remain in the community and provide medical services. They also committed to living in one of the 4 municipalities. So we had a doctor that wanted to live in McNabb Braeside, and it was about 20 feet outside the line, and we said, no, if you want our money, you got to live here. So those were the kind of commitments that we brought in. We also then had it in our contract that they had to have 1,100 patients. The average was about 1,000, from 2,700 down to 1,000. So the current doctors only want to have about 1,000 patients because the population's older here, a little more complex medical needs, and they felt that they were quite comfortable. And so that's the expenses for 2024. It's down from about 55,000 because we've slashed the wages down because we're just winding things up. And no job fairs. Insurance, of course, need director's insurance in case I screw up. Receiver General, we all know who they are. Our accountant, he does our year end, so that's 2 year ends. And some advice he gave us, and then our office expenses. So it totals 34,000. Next slide, please. So what I'm proposing to you is to close out the Renfrew Area Health Services Village. There's the balance, a line of credit balance of 96,000. That's owed to the town of Renfrew, and Renfrew shares in that 96,000. In 2013, that was one of the documents I sent you, was a financing agreement, and Section 3, Sub 2, I believe it is, it talks about refunding that in equal portions. We didn't have the money, and the need was urgent, so we used the line of credit. Now we're paying it off. So legal is about $7,500. Went to 2 lawyers, got estimates about wrapping up a not-for-profit corporation. I think it'll be lower than that, but I'm not going to say that for sure. Accounting, we think it's about $3,000 to do our final closing statement. Payroll till October 31st. Present interest on the line of credit, and interest due October 31, and miscellaneous $113,000. And if you could just go to the next slide, please. So that breaks down to $28,297.50. And if you go to the next slide, please, what we're asking you for is $30,000 each, just in case I'm wrong. In case something comes up that I'm not aware of, we're pretty sure we've got it, and any funding will be returned back to the 4 partners. So none of our board gets mileage. None of our boards ever got a salary. I don't believe any of our board has spent any money on lunches. It's all gone into physician recruiting. I have bought lunches for doctors when they've come in, so we've taken them around. We've had skiing comped by Calabogie Peaks. We've had whitewater adventures comped by Owl Rafting at the time. We've had cars at Calabogie Motorsports comped. We have not spent money on things like that. It's been very rare for us to spend money. We have spent money on trips to Ottawa, Kingston, and I think Toronto they have medical school days, I'll call them, where you get in a room with 30 or 40 other recruiters, and people come around and you hand out stuff. So we did hand out hats, golf shirts, coffee cups, fridge magnets. I think that was about it. We were pretty much on the chintzy side. For about 5 years, we contributed $25,000 a year to Renfrew Victoria Hospital, and they matched it with $25,000 or more to hire a physician recruiter. We ended that in 2021 because we knew we were coming to the end of the road. And I think that was the last slide. Is there one more, Beauty? Oh, there it is. There's the 2013 agreement. I'm sorry, it was line number 2. So it just talks about the $2.1 million cost to fund the program, total to recruit $14 to 14 doctors, and all related debt is paid by agreeing as follows. And you see that position to allow us to use the surplus funds, because it was set up so the surplus funds would be used for economic development. So we had to change that at that time. And then the permission to create a line of credit not to exceed 510,000. Some of the finance people gave us that number. It wasn't me, so I can't defend it. It seemed to be the right one. It's worked out. And then at the bottom you see with associated costs paid by the municipalities in an evenly distributed manner. So that's how we've done everything, is evenly distributed. So I've really rambled around, so I'll be more than happy to answer any superficial questions. And as I said, I'll come back and you can have at me.
Well, we won't have that,
No.
but thank you so much for all of that information. I see us all diligently taking some notes, so I will open it up to the floor for anybody for questions or clarifications.
And I've committed to getting as many financial statements back to your worship as I can find in my own electronic files. So every year we're audited by Ferguson Kubaszewski.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Deputy Mayor Webster.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Warden Ivan, for coming and doing your presentation. Very good stats and everything, and you've certainly enlightened me of the information that was presented today since we've been on council. Getting this is cleared a lot of my questions that I had earlier. Just a couple things. So, what are this? I think you answered the stats for doctors now are per person. Like how many people per?
Well, at the
Patients?
time, we were guessing 1 to 7, 1 in 7.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't know the answer. We do know that the county itself, as a community, is in need of about 40 doctors. So it would be safe to assume we are at least 20 doctors, in need of 20 doctors around here.
We're in the need of 20 doctors.
If
Okay.
anybody was to do a study, I think you would see that.
Yeah.
There's about 30,000 people of 107,000, our total population, without a doctor in Renfrew County at this time.
Okay, thank you. And my other question, in regards to splitting up that last funds there of 113,000 you wanted, you're asking each community for $30,000, and that is it, done, close out. We tried to get 14 doctors, we got 16, 2 left, so we've met the agreement and everything else, and this would kind of close the books on everything.
Yes,
Just
it
wanna
would.
reaffirm
That's
that.
our plan, is to cease to exist.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
and so we had planned on the 14 by 2017, I think, and so we ended up, I think we finished it in 2019, and so now we're just paying off the debt.
Very good. Yeah, as we discussed earlier, I think a follow-up meeting would be required. Go over all this information again that was presented today, and then I'm sure we'll have more questions and clarification will be brought out at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Humphreys.
Yes, thank you, Peter, for that update. I think a lot of this area has been kept in the dark because I learned a lot in your presentation. There was a lot of questions I had, and you've answered them. But it'd be lovely to go into before meeting, after meeting, or closed session to hammer out a few questions. We were sort of left with a lot of unknown information because there was a lot of hearsay, a lot of stuff. So it's so nice for your presentation to see that in writing. I know the Industrial Commission sort of really threw a curve at us when it left, and we were told that before, but I think if we got 16 doctors, we got keeping 14 on the go has done a good job. And again, your comment about VTech has done so much for our area. So I think we should be very proud of our paramedics and the VTech organization. So again, thank you for this presentation. Looking forward to sitting down without the cameras on us to have a chat. Thank you.
Councillor Campbell.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Proctor, and thank you, Warden Emo. I know you've been to the table a few times presenting information, and again, we're looking, primarily at the financials to keep that in line with our budgets as well. I know the agreement that was set forth. At one point it was hard to get physicians to come in, and once that did take over, it did. You started to see a difference, especially for a surgeon at the Renfrew Victoria Hospital. So So the final payment, as Deputy Mayor Webster has pointed out, is the, like a 30,000 would settle everything out. Without this now, what does doctor recruitment look like for this 40 space leg?
I'll try and get you more information on that. My impression right now is that most of the physician recruiting in the Highway 17 corridor has ceased, with the exception of Arnprior,
Okay.
because Arnprior belongs to a different Ontario health team. So we belong to the Upper Ottawa Valley or Ottawa Valley Health Team. So what happened was there used to be LHINs.
Yeah.
The government changed. They thought LHINs weren't doing their job, so they set out requests for family health teams. At the time, they were looking for populations, I believe, of 250,000 for a family health team. Because of our geography, that's virtually impossible. We would have to join with a couple other people, and then that would have dispersed things out too much. So family health teams, sorry, it's not a family health team. Ontario Health Team. I'll just call it that. I can't remember the exact acronym. They're charged with planning how to deliver health services in our community. So right now, Renfrew Victoria Hospital, St. Francis in Barry's Bay, Pembroke Regional, and Deep River Hospital all belong to that. And they receive funding as a group. So there is a group now that is planning how healthcare is delivered. Not sure where it's going to end up, but they are to be looking into how to recruit doctors, and then they'll seemingly allocate the doctors to the communities. So I don't exactly know how it's going to work its way through now.
Okay. With the current doctors that were recruited with a 6-year agreement, is that 40 doctors, is that because of that agreement maybe coming, because there's a group of 5, I believe was the last group for our area, that was hired at the same time, but within 3 years, I think we're going to need 4 more within that 6-year span.
So right now, there are at least 3 doctors getting ready to retire.
Okay.
There have been 4 in the last 5 years, especially since COVID, that have
Okay.
gone. So yes, those aren't replaced. So in theory, there are probably an immediate need for between 10 and 20 in this catchment area.
Okay. Well, thank you, Peter. Thank you, Mayor.
I echo all of my sentiments, and I so appreciate you taking time and being here. A few things that came to my mind is certainly, without spending time looking back, the RIC, right? The Renfrew Industrial Commission, spending $480,000 or contributing $480,000 instead of the 1.26, leaving essentially 66% unfunded. I dare say I look forward to the final numbers and the audited reports too, to understand where did that burden then fall onto us as municipalities. And not necessarily looking back for sake of shifting, but if we look forward, I do look forward to what does our next step look like. We do need to look forward to incentives to recruit within the current confines that we've got with VTech, with doctor recruitment for the shift, I'll call it, of the Renfrew Victoria Hospital. So not to commit you to anything, but any ideas that you have right now of activities going on, because I know the RIC has morphed into new. I dare say I'm a little mindful to step into that. And as my first term of council, I'm horrified at how the lack of transparency around this amount of money. This has been a significant amount of money that we as a township have contributed, and to only now learn that we've recruited that many doctors seems like we probably should have been screaming that from the hills a little bit more. No fingers pointed in that, more just saying going forward, transparency and how. I look forward to more conversation and ask if you've got any ideas right now for what that might look like.
So I have warned the hospital that once this goes away, you'll not replicate it. There will not be, because finances are so tight for municipalities. This is baked into people's budget right now, so it's sort of, okay, grudgingly, okay, it's in our health services side, you know, we'll go ahead and do it, because it's the right thing to do. If it's gone, I've said to the hospital and to some other bodies, you're not going to get it back. So you're going to lose about 120,000, 130,000 now, you know, and in a couple of years it'd be 150,000. You're going to lose that in physician recruiting. Other municipalities around us are paying, when you look at Hastings County, they pay $150,000 a pop. So and I know Peterborough County is involved with, I think, 5 or 6 municipalities. They put money in the pot, and they're recruiting from England and other places right now. They just went across and had a big delegation in Ireland and England, I believe. So it's not going to go away, but I'm not sure how it's going to be led. I'm going to depart a little bit and become warden. And so as warden, the County of Renfrew has not been interested in it because there are 5 hospitals. The Empire Hospital has pulled its community out for a lot of services and really attached itself to Queensway Carleton and one more hospital. Now the other 4 hospitals are starting to do that as well. They're moving to the Epic system, whereas before there was a series of different systems. But I don't know what that means in terms of doctors. A lot of the hospitals are moving to hospitalist models. So once you're admitted, your doctor does not look after your care. It's the hospitalist that looks after your care and then transfers you back to the doctor. So the hospitals may not sense the urgency in replacing family doctors. Where we could run into problems in the community is a lot of our family doctors, and what was so comfortable for them was they could branch out and go work at hospice. They could branch out and go and work at one of the long-term care homes. There were other things they could do. They could work with McKay Manor as well. So we had such a concentration of really different things for them to do. So if they had a subspecialty, you know, they had the opportunity to do that. They weren't just grinding it out, looking down people's throats and hitting that little thing at the back to knock some stuff off it. So they, you know, that's what they liked about it. So if there's no new docs coming in a few years, those services may suffer.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any last remarks to make or any last questions from anybody?
Just very quickly, thank you very much. You know, Horton's been a strong partner. I'm aware of other communities that in our group that seemingly didn't receive the information. So that's what this tour is about, to make sure everybody's on target. We had that meeting in Renfrew, I'm going to say midway through the first year, to bring people up to speed. And then some things started to happen in terms of changes. So we've sort of laid low until things got a little more stable for some of our members, and then we've been back with it. So, but thank you very much. We recognize that this was not the model that a lot of people in Horton liked at the time, but the council did agree to it. And if they wouldn't have, it wouldn't have gone forward. If any one of the 4 partners hadn't stayed in, it wouldn't have gone forward, and we wouldn't have 14 doctors. So thank you very much, and I will come back anytime.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. With that, we will move on in our agenda. Thank you. That closes the delegation. Moving on to section 6 of our minutes. Yes? Make sure I'm staying in order. Thank you so much, Peter. Minutes from previous. We have 2 in section 6.1 and 6.2 and I would look for a mover and a seconder to approve on page 3 and page 4. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Webster, moving both minutes. Thank you. Councillor Humphreys, all in favor? Thank you, gentlemen. Section 7, is there any business arising? None being heard? We will move on to committee reports, section 8.1, and I shall pass that over to you, Chair Campbell.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Proctor. Officially, thank you very much, Mayor Proctor. So, I jumped all around here on us momentarily. Okay, 8.1.1, page 8, you'll see the building report. And on that, we see, I believe, 16 new houses built this summer or over the year. Yeah, 16. And when we're looking at the comparable from 2025 to 2024, we're very close. I'm sure there'll be a few more sneak in there. It's been a hot summer, and congratulations to the carpenters and all the construction workers and homeowners that have, dealt with the heat and were able to see their forever homes built. Are there any questions or concerns with the building report? Not seeing any. We'll move on to the open planning files, where we have approximately 22 severances in the queue. We're still holding one page right now, so that's good information. And if you look at the status of file, most of them seem to be complete or awaiting further instructions or details from the applicants. Are there any questions on planning? Mayor
If I
Proctor.
may, there is still a significant amount of time between information received by county and information completed by county.
Yes.
I will just leave it at that I do think there's an opportunity to learn a little bit more. I appreciate that county comes here periodically, but so that we have a better understanding, if you look at some of the dates on some of those files, the difference between received by county and complete by county, some of them are quite close, some of them are not. And I'd like to better understand that, especially with the enforcement of having the preconditions prior to any of them. So nothing to do, more just saying it out loud to keep learning more of why some of those delays.
No, and I certainly agree. That's why we had the delegates come down from the county planning division. They're well received. We made our point across with the attendant coming down here to dot I's and cross T's and meet with any of the residents that are looking to build or sever. So yeah, we need to do a little homework and do due diligence to see if it's on the hands of the applicants, or is there still a delay up in the office, maybe through holidays and stuff. It just depends. But I'd like to have an update on the junior planner, or where we're sitting as far as planners that are reviewing these documents, and I'm sure we're all curious to see what's going on there. So thank you. Are there any further concerns? If not, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor Proctor. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And moving on to 8.2, I will pass it over to Chair Humphreys, please, for recreation.
Thank you, Mayor Proctor. The report is on page 10. And again, we had our meeting on September 16th, so it's all pretty fresh. Any questions on the minutes and the committee meeting we had? We had talked about the new rec agreement with the town of Renfrew, which will be discussed in detail later. Very fortunate to have Ms. Eden meeting with the library and all the. Now we're, as you see, on the Facebook and stuff, we're having more activities through the senior home support, and a lot of these events have been sold out. So it's nice to see it. The community center has been used. Again, we had our little summer barbecue with about 75 people. It was very nice. We got a lot of things coming up that's listed on page 11. And if there's any questions on that report, I'd be glad to answer to the best of my ability. Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
I guess the tail end of the minutes here were the upcoming dates and events. I believe that Rachel is going to be putting something down on the board or on her
Yes.
window
Yeah.
to keep everyone informed of this and kind of a living schedule of upcoming events. I think that's a great push, and you can see there's a lot of activities for everyone to join in of every age group for the winter, and it's she's done an exceptional job in that, and I like to again make mention of the Harvest Supper, that there are tickets, I believe,
Yes.
Chair Humphreys.
Yes, there is, Councillor Campbell, yep.
So to attend this, they are tickets. There will not be any at the door, I don't believe.
No, there will be not be any at the door. There's lots of takeouts. It's right at the desk in front here, and Rachel has tickets. I have tickets. A lot of the members there have tickets in their pockets to sell. And we're going to have a trivia right after our supper. And again, it was you that brought up to keep the same as Renfrew Home Support, that we would put a thing in to let everybody know what is going on every day. And Rachel's done a really good job. And I just need, even yesterday, it was Dave Stewart wants to organize a bid euchre. So everything's been kept up to date. Like, every time you go on that Facebook page, it's up to date. But taking the example from the senior home sport, you walk by the main street, you say, oh, that's, chair yoga's on a certain day, must keep that in mind. Or I think the more we can, and use their sign, that's very important, because every time you drive by, you're driving by slower with the construction, you have more time to read, because the rough road. But I think it's important to, and a really good job on Facebook, let's face it, it's, social media works for the good rather than evil.
Yeah.
So anyway, lots of things going on.
Yeah, and even if we put a duplicate list on our board in the lobby
Yep.
here as well, would be a good punch in the arm here to get people out. I know I spoke to a doctor and two of the medical professionals in Renfrew here over the last week, and that have moved to Horton and said they can't believe how much Horton is offering right now, and they're looking forward to getting their kids volunteering for the age group they're at. So, but they certainly were impressed with what Horton had to offer at, and I'll quote them, is it the community center, the Horton Community Center, is it? So they just, I'm not sure what the language was they're looking for, but it was certainly nice to hear that people that have just moved in over the last 3 weeks and 3 months really pointing out that the activities that are being held down there, and Rachel and all the volunteers certainly are a big push for that. So thank you, Chair Humphreys.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Campbell. Is there any other questions? Yeah, Deputy Mayor Webster, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just to expand on that, because I'm not, there's social media and all that. I wonder if this link can also be put on our website. That, we've got everything coming up there, that under recreation stuff, that
Yeah.
maybe we can just link this and this would pop up as well.
It should probably, it seems to be everywhere.
Okay.
I didn't really check the website, but I know it pops up on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
So,
No, that would,
Yes.
if that could be done, that would be great.
We do have it on our website, but we could do a little ticker tape type thing, like right on the home page. I know it's down at the bottom currently, but we could do something a little bit more in eye level once you hit the homepage.
That'd be great. Okay.
thank you. So any other questions? Yes, Mayor Proctor.
This just makes me smile so much, right, relative to where we were and prior to Rachel. So again, kudos to Rachel and everybody in support of Rachel. Exactly to your thought, Deputy Mayor Webster, is not everybody is on Facebook, so I think that's one of the struggles we've been having in lots of areas. To your point of Golden Age Activity Center, with our new partnership, perhaps there's a way that we can also put Horton calendar on their window physically,
Yeah.
that when people walk by, they might see what we've got going on. Just an idea that I'm going to throw out there. But two, I love the diversity of the activities going on, from little kids to barbecue. I look forward to the harvest meal, and all of it. And it is a really nice vibe to be seeing the community center so well used and so well appreciated. So thank you for that. I don't like to think of the snow, but I do like to also see that our Remembrance Day is already booked, the first Sunday of November. So look forward to that. So thank you very much.
And to further that, I do have a senior home support meeting on Friday, and I will bring that up to put the Horton poster in with their mail out too, so. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Turn back to you, Mayor Proctor.
Wonderful. We're all energized now for that. This is good. And Chair Yoga filled up in less than 24 hours. I was thrilled to see all of your names on it. You're laughing. All right, so we're going to zing through here because correspondence summary on our agenda, we have none. Bylaws, I will hand that over to CAO Billaba, but I was going to say we haven't covered any, so that would be none. I will move on to section 11, notice to file motion for next council meeting. Understood. Section 12, we'll pause for any council or staff members' concerns. Yes, Councillor Humphreys.
Yeah, I think it's important, as I brought up before, to really look closely at the rec agreement with the town of Renfrew, and I think that'll be on the next meeting, just to go over it again, because I've had a lot of questions on that, about the various costs and the numbers that I think we need more data, and I was talking to Hope about that. Thank you.
Well said. Yes. Sorry, Deputy Mayor. No? Councillor Campbell? Sorry.
Just to kind of support that, so staff have reached out to the town of Renfrew to request more comprehensive data to support the increase that they're proposing. So more information will come back to committee and council. And if council wishes to at that time, we might suggest putting out a survey to our residents. We do have it through SurveyMonkey, which is possible that we can do.
Fabulous idea. I have no concerns, but I did want to raise a item for consideration for everybody that I am humbled and thrilled at the number of applicants, and I don't know that it needs to be public knowledge, but the number of applicants that we've had to join us as our fifth complement. I think it's stunning. It's brilliant to see that much engagement, and I really appreciate, I guess what I can say is just how collaborative we're all being on that process to keep it transparent and open and continue to lean back into that engagement that we're receiving from the community. So I just wanted to take a moment to say that's brilliant with that. Okay. With no bylaws, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we have no resolutions either. Do we have one? We do have one. I will pass it over to CAO Delabeau.
That council received the following reports as information: building report, planning files update, and recreation chairs report for September 11th, 2025.
And moved by Councillor Humphreys, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Webb. Campbell, sorry. We will get names correctly. All in favor? Thank you.
And that council enact bylaw 2025-37, confirming bylaw.
Do I have a mover? That would be Councillor Campbell, seconded by, changing it up, Deputy Mayor Webster. All in favor? And with that, I would say that we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.